First things first, if you want to win a copy of this one, let us know down in the comments what's your favourite farming sim and why. Hi everyone and welcome back to SwitchUp. Today we're going to have a look at a game called No Place Like Home, which is a farming sim that comes out on the Switch that's previously been out on the PC. This one comes to us from Merge Games, and they've kindly offered to sponsor us to have a little look at the game, all the mechanics, and hopefully everything you need to know about it.
So what exactly is No Place Like Home? Well, let's find out.
Alright, let's start off with the narrative then. So the tale goes that the rest of the population have destroyed the Earth, covered it in junk, and then headed to Mars. And you've also been offered that same ticket. Now, just about the same time, you receive a letter from your grandpa. How very original. But he's gone on a little expedition and suddenly gone very quiet. So you go to try and find out what's happened to him. Upon your arrival, you find a letter in the house that says exactly that. But he also mentions that if he hasn't returned within a set amount of time, that you should leave and head to Mars, which you completely ignore.
So that's the basic premise. It gets you somewhere and gives you a nice big farm to deal with. But the first thing you'll need to do is clear it because it is absolutely full of rubbish. Now, Mark mentioned a minute ago that this is now the problem on Earth, hence the reason people are leaving for Mars. And you have almost like a proton pack, if you like. But instead of destroying ghosts, you'll be taking that rubbish up and you can then recycle it, which is a big hook of the game.
Yeah, you'll find straight away that although there is a tutorial area which will guide you through the basic mechanics of destroying rubble or sucking it up, you can actually skip that, go up the ladder and just start your farming. And it's filled with all of this soot that you have to clean up. Now, the tool that you use, I guess, has a drill on one end so it can drill these things to pieces, and the proton pack that Glen mentioned. I must say, I do quite like how fast everything is in this game. So very often in these, you'd be using a pickaxe and chipping away at something, and then you'd get tired and it would send you back to the farm. It never does that because there's not actually a stamina system here. At the top of the screen are your health, so as long as that doesn't fall to zero, and you've got your water, which you can run to the nearest stream and just suck up more water to be used on your crops. So let's have a look at the farming side of things then.
So basically, you'll be able to build shelters for the animals that you find, and this is how this game works. You find the animals, you'll end up most of the time releasing them from traps or cages, and you can then befriend them and they'll come and live on your farm. Once you've done this, they will then provide produce for you that you can then use to swap for other resources at the local shops.
As well as that, you can put a hat on them, which is awesome. And there are different hats that you'll find. Now, what I like is that as you're clearing that trash, you'll uncover these animals, as Glen said, but you'll also find other hidden suitcases and treasure chests, which is quite an overt reference to one man's trash being another man's treasure. And yes, I did say trash and not rubbish, Glen, I'm so sorry.
When it comes to growing crops, you'll find bags of seeds, and you can plant these, of course, and grow them using the hose element that Mark mentioned earlier on your, we keep calling it a proton pack, you get the idea, your backpack. You can use these to swap for other resources, and whilst we're talking about resources and swapping, I'll just touch on the recycling element, which, as I said, is a big part of the game. There are a number of different types of rubbish that you'll find, and you can then recycle this into elements such as jars, and these basically become your currency.
Now, back on the subject of the farming side, you can pick up, again from clearing all this trash, little plots of land that you can place down wherever you want. That's what you'll plant your seeds into. This whole process is reasonably easy. You can actually run down the line, spamming your seeds and firing them into the ground, and then pick out that water cannon and just douse the entire lot. It saves a ton of time, and that's kind of what I'm after, if I'm honest, in this style of experience. There are different quests that will gradually guide you through learning the mechanics of the game. But as Glen says, you can recycle things. There's also a shop which essentially has different themes of items that can then be built into your house, but you will need the recipes of those, and to get those, you'll need to progress through the storyline.
Yeah, as someone that's played a lot of farm sims in my time, I did actually like the streamlined nature of this one. Instead of having to chop down trees at the beginning or use your pickaxe, it's basically just getting rid of the rubbish. And then instead of hoeing the land, you can just find these extra plots. It is quite a nice way of dealing with it.
Exactly right. There's no real barriers to entry here. And as far as difficulty goes, I mean, it makes it very clear that difficulty is not something you need to worry about. It's quite a casual experience. There is also a creative mode which unlocks absolutely everything if you want to just go and build a farm and chill out. And you will find some enemies as you're destroying that trash. These weird little spider creatures will come out and you can swing your weapon or you can just drill them to death. I didn't even realize you could swing the weapon at the start. Now there is a sprint as well, but as I say, there's no baseline stamina that you need to worry about, and you'll gradually open new areas of what turns out to be quite a large and varied map. As you can see from the world map, it's split into different biomes. There's snow, desert, and your normal forests, and each of these will be absolutely rammed with that trash that you have to clear. Now you can upgrade your tools, and you'll need to do that using the aforementioned eggs and other produce that you'll find from your animals, and this then allows you to go over to this little fella and he'll upgrade those different ones. There are secrets hidden around the world which can be accessed in a number of different ways. Sometimes the ladder will be hidden in a bush, and other times you'll have to get a box and put it below these areas, which will allow you to walk across. Seems a bit odd that you can't jump. You can do everything else, but you can't jump over a tiny gap, but you know, each to their own.
Now, we briefly mentioned earlier hats, a strange sentence as that is, and that's because you can customize your animals by creating clothes for them, and you can also throw parties for them, which is, again, quite odd. But yeah, if you are someone that does love that customization element to these games, as well as that, you can customize your house with furniture. There's a cooking section where you can cook meals using, again, obviously the produce or the crops that you grow.
And most importantly, you can name your chickens Glen, which he clearly loved.
There are also collectibles to find. It works very similarly to a game like Animal Crossing, where it will be do this thing X amount of times and then you'll receive a stamp. And there are feathers that you can find in various locations. The game keeps track of these as you find them.
Yeah, it's that kind of longevity stuff that you want to work towards if you're someone that plays these for, well, they end up being hundreds of hours, don't they? Inventory management is relatively straightforward. You can drag and drop items from top, or you can just press Y to instantly transfer those. No Place Like Home runs on the Unity engine and generally seems to be able to maintain a 30 FPS range. There are a few drops at the start of the game, funnily enough, when there's a load of trash on screen. So the irony of clearing that trash and having performance improve is not lost on me. While it looks colourful enough, the Switch version does lack some of the lighting and depth that we see in the PC versions, but as Glenn pointed out to me straight away this morning, it runs well enough, and that's the thing, isn't it? The performance is the key factor.
Yeah, I mean, I played Room Factory 5 on the Switch, and every time you move the camera in that game, it was quite a struggle for the game to keep up with you, and you have no such issues here at all. It's actually very smooth.
As you can see from the handheld footage as well, it's one of those that looks a little nicer when you squash everything down onto that smaller OLED screen. Now, I have passed on to the developers that I think they should increase the overall text size in the game, and that potentially green on the white background isn't the best option. And I noticed that the backing music seems to stop if you're in a text dialogue for too long, and that will restart when you leave it. But I haven't experienced any crashes in my time playing. Load times are absolutely fine. But compared to when it first released on early access back in 21, it's a much better experience, and I think they've still got some more that they could potentially do. Hopefully it will sell well enough on the Switch. I'd love to see some DLC down. As far as price, we're looking at £22.49 or your regional equivalent. There will be a 15% discount at launch. The whole thing fits into a 1.7GB download, and there is a physical of this one available, which is slightly more expensive. For the completion of the game and those looking to see if it's something they'll be able to completely 100%, you're looking at around about 13 or 14 hours to just do the basics, but if you want to find everything, it's more like 25 hours, and that obviously doesn't include just playing in the creative modes. Once again, if there's anything you'd like to know about this one, please do let us know down in the comments. As with all our sponsored videos, we do like to try and give a copy away, so leave your comments down below, hit all the buttons and stuff, and a big thanks to Merge Games for sponsoring us.
Absolutely. Thanks also to our patrons and our channel members, of course, for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.